Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to Days of Our Lives' latest episode. For more than 2 decades, Patrika Darbo has portrayed Nancy Wesley on Days of Our Lives, becoming a fan-favorite presence on the long-running Peacock soap. Now, the actress is reflecting on how the role came together, and how what was initially meant to be a one-week appearance turned into an on-and-off run spanning more than 20 years. Darbo recently discussed her career during an appearance on the Jim Masters show, where she spoke with host Jim Masters about her extensive film and television resume, including her memorable time on Days of Our Lives. During the interview, Masters asked Darbo how she first landed the role of Nancy Wesley in 1998. Darbo recalled attending a party held by late actress Ronnie Claire Edwards, where she crossed paths with longtime casting director Fran Bascom. According to Darbo, Bascom had previously seen her perform in several stage productions, and the two had worked together on earlier projects. It was at that gathering that Bascom approached her with a simple question: "Patrika, would you do a soap?" At the time, Darbo assumed the offer would be for a minor role. "I didn't see myself as a soap actress," she said. "I saw myself as a soap under 5 person coming in helping with something small instead." Darbo was soon offered the role of Nancy Wesley. "We accepted," she said, adding that she still believed the part would be brief and largely insignificant. This doubt was magnified when she received a photo of her on-screen husband. "My agent sends me a picture of Kevin Spiritus and says, 'This is going to be your husband on the show,'" Darbo recalled. "Kevin is the epitome of a soap opera actor. He's wonderful," Darbo shared. "I look at him and go, they've cast the wrong person. Something's wrong." Despite her doubts, Darbo reported to set and filmed her scenes. "They'd only hired me to do like a week's work," she explained. "That's all Kevin and I were supposed to do." When those episodes aired, however, Darbo said the audience response was immediate. "The day I aired, there was such a response from the fans," she said. "God bless each and every one of you who wrote in and called in and said, 'We love this woman.'" Darbo credited that viewer reaction with securing her a longer run on the show. "I had a 3-year contract at the end of that day," she said. "That was in 1998, and I just recently went back in 2016 to do something for them. So, I've been on and off with Days of Our Lives for more than 20 years. She accepted the part believing it would be brief, routine, and largely forgettable, just another short job in a long career. At the time, nothing about the offer suggested it would become one of the most meaningful chapters of her professional life. Darbo assumed she would show up, do her scenes, and quietly move on to the next opportunity. That assumption was quickly tested when she received a photo from her agent. "My agent sends me a picture of Kevin Spiritus and says, 'This is going to be your husband on the show,'" Darbo recalled. Seeing the image sparked a wave of doubt. Spiritus, well known for his classic soap opera presence, looked every bit like a traditional daytime leading man. "Kevin is the epitome of a soap opera actor," Darbo said warmly. "He's wonderful." But her immediate reaction was uncertainty. "I look at him and go, they've cast the wrong person. Something's wrong." In her mind, the pairing didn't make sense. She questioned whether she fit into that world at all. Soap operas, with their heightened emotions and long-term storytelling, felt far removed from how she viewed herself as a performer. Still, professionalism won out, and Darbo reported to set as scheduled. From the beginning, the expectations were minimal. She and Spiritus were hired for what was supposed to be about a week's worth of work. Their storyline was designed to serve a short-term narrative purpose, nothing more. There were no long-term plans, no hints of future arcs, and no discussions about extended contracts. "They'd only hired me to do like a week's work," Darbo explained. "That's all Kevin and I were supposed to do." She filmed her scenes, approached the role with care, and delivered exactly what was asked of her. No more, no less. At the time, she believed that once the episodes aired, her involvement with the show would quietly conclude. Then something unexpected happened. When Darbo's episodes aired, the response from viewers was immediate and overwhelming. Fans connected with Nancy Wesley almost instantly. Letters and phone calls poured in, praising her performance and expressing affection for the character. What Darbo had assumed would pass unnoticed, instead, struck a powerful chord with the audience. "The day I aired, there was such a response from the fans," she said. "God bless each and every one of you who wrote in and called in and said, 'We love this woman.'" That audience reaction changed everything. Behind the scenes, producers took notice. In daytime television, fan response can shape storylines, extend contracts, and even redefine a character's place in the show's universe. Nancy Wesley, once conceived as a short-term character, suddenly had a future by the end of that very day. Darbo's situation had dramatically shifted. "I had a 3-year contract at the end of that day," she revealed. What began as a 1-week commitment had transformed into a multi-year role. a rare and remarkable turn of events in an industry known for its unpredictability. For Darbo, the moment was both surprising and deeply affirming. It was proof that audiences still had the power to influence storytelling and that authenticity on screen could resonate far beyond expectations. That initial contract marked the beginning of a long on-and-off relationship with the show. Over the years, Darbo would return to Days of Our Lives multiple times, each appearance reinforcing Nancy Wesley's place in the fabric of Salem. The character evolved, faced heartbreak, delivered humor, and became a familiar emotional touchstone. For viewers looking back, Darbo reflects on the experience with gratitude and humility. She never planned for the role to define such a significant portion of her career, yet it became one of her most cherished accomplishments. The longevity of Nancy Wesley wasn't the result of careful career planning or strategic positioning, it was the result of timing, trust, and genuine audience connection. That was in 1998, Darbo said, and I just recently went back in 2016 to do something for them. Her journey serves as a reminder of how unpredictable and rewarding acting can be. A single conversation at a party, a simple question from a casting director, and a role assumed to be insignificant ultimately became a lasting legacy. For fans, history. For Darbo, the role represents an unexpected gift, one she never saw coming but will always treasure. And as she continues to reflect on her career, she's part of its soul. And for Patrika Darbo, that realization didn't come overnight. It revealed itself slowly over years of returning to the same set, slipping back into the same character, and being greeted by familiar faces who remembered not just her name, but her journey. One of the most striking aspects of Darbo's experience was how seamlessly she was welcomed back each time she returned. Soap operas move fast, casts change, storylines evolve, and entire eras can pass within a few seasons. Yet Nancy Wesley remained a constant thread, woven carefully into the fabric of the show whenever her presence was needed. Darbo has often noted that the writers treated Nancy with respect. Rather than bringing her back simply for nostalgia, they ensured the character still served an emotional purpose. Nancy wasn't just there to remind viewers of the past, she was there to complicate the present, challenge other characters, and reflect the consequences of long-running stories. That thoughtful approach deepened Darbo's connection to the role. Each return required her to revisit who Nancy was and who she had become. Time had passed not just for the audience but for the character as well. Nancy aged, learned, suffered losses, and carried emotional scars that felt authentic rather than convenient. For Darbo, this kind of continuity was creatively satisfying. It allowed her to grow with the character rather than resetting her performance each time. Few actors are granted the opportunity to revisit a role across decades and explore how time reshapes a person. In daytime television, where stories unfold in real time, that evolution becomes especially powerful. Beyond the storytelling, Darbo also credits the show's production environment for making her long association with Days of Our Lives possible. She has spoken warmly about the collaborative atmosphere on set, where actors, writers, and crew work closely under intense time pressure. Despite the fast pace, there was room for trust and mutual respect. That sense of community made each return feel less intimidating. Even after long absences, Darbo found herself slipping back into rhythm quickly. The cadence of the dialogue, the emotional beats, and the energy of the set came rushing back as if no time had passed at all. The fan response, however, remained the most meaningful element of her journey. Years after her debut, viewers still recognized Nancy Wesley as someone who mattered to them. Fans shared memories of watching the show with parents, grandparents, or children, with Nancy woven into those personal moments. For Darbo, that generational connection was deeply moving. She often emphasizes that soap opera fans are uniquely loyal. They invest emotionally in characters over long periods of time, and when those characters return, it feels like a reunion. Rather than a plot device, Darbo understood that responsibility and approached each appearance with care, knowing that Nancy represented something personal for many viewers. Her story also highlights the unpredictable nature of acting careers. No amount of training experience or planning could have guaranteed that a one-week role would stretch into a 20-year legacy. It happened because of a perfect alignment of audience response, creative support, and Darbo's own openness to the unexpected. Looking back, Darbo has said that her time on Days of Our Lives reshaped her understanding of success. It wasn't about awards or visibility. It was about longevity, impact, and connection. Being remembered, welcomed back, and cherished by an audience over decades became the true measure of accomplishment. As the television landscape continues to evolve, stories like Darbo's feel increasingly rare. Short seasons, limited runs, and streaming formats often prevent characters from developing the deep roots that daytime television allows. In that sense, Nancy Wesley stands as a reminder of what long-form storytelling can achieve. For Patrika Darbo, the role will always represent more than a credit on her resume. It represents trust. Trust from casting directors who took a chance. Trust from writers who kept finding space for Nancy, and trust from viewers who embraced her again and again. Her journey proves that sometimes the most enduring legacies begin quietly, with a simple question at a party and a role that almost didn't seem worth taking. And decades later, that quiet beginning still echoes through Salem.